Hello everyone. Today we will look at healing Alacrity Druid, which is, in my opinion, one of the best healers in the entire game. The build provides tons of heals and a lot of boons, including permanent Alacrity, Might, Fury, Protection, Regeneration, and more. And I will show you how you can do all of this with a very simple rotation. You can use this build in any kind of group content like fractals, strike missions, and raids, and you can also use it for open world metas. I will now show you the main setup for this build, and in the description below I will leave some guides on how to gear up any character from scratch, and you will also find cheaper gear options if the ones I will mention now will be hard or expensive for you to get. We will use full minstrel armor, weapons, and trinkets. The armor will have monk runes, which can be bought from any dungeon vendor. For the weapons we are using axe, warhorn, and a staff. They will have transference and concentration on all of them. The order of the sigils doesn't matter too much in this setup, and the relic will also be Relic of the Monk. If you plan on using this build in raids, your toughness can be a little bit of a problem. In that case, I would recommend changing your trinkets to be full Harrier instead of Minstrel, which will lower your toughness a lot. And if that was not enough, we will also change our armor and make it Harrier. But of course, this will also lower your own sustain, so be careful and try not to lower it too much unless it is needed. It will all depend on the groups you do raids with and who the tank will be. For the food, we will use delicious rice bowl, or of course ascended healing food if the commander will drop it. And for the utilities, we will use bountiful maintenance oil. And keep in mind that you can craft it yourself if you have a huntsman that is at least level 450, which will reduce the cost a lot. You will also find a link for that in the description below. For the traits, we have skirmishing 3, 1, 1, and then nature magic 2, 3, 3, and druid 2, 2, 1. For the utilities, we have healing spring, and then glyph of alignment, search and rescue, and stone spirit, and the elite will be glyph of the stars. Later in the guide, I will show you much more utility options we can have based on the situation. As for the pets, blue moa will be our main one, and then the pink moa will be our secondary pet. Now let's understand how this build works. And we will start with the heals. Regeneration will be one of your most powerful passive heals that you will be constantly applying to your party. And because of the lingering magic trait, your regeneration will be 20% more effective. Your main source of regeneration will be your warhorn skills because of this trait. So both of the warhorn skills will provide regeneration, even if the tooltip doesn't say so. This trait will also heal allies a second time when you apply regeneration to them. Also, from the adapt trait, your healing skill will apply regeneration, and from this trait, your beast skills, which is basically your F2, it will also apply regeneration. On top of that, you have plenty of big heals from many different sources in and out of Celestial Avatar. From this trait, you will apply heals, protection, and vigor when you use any of your beast skills. And then from this adapted trait, anytime you use your healing skill, you will also heal allies a second time. Your auto attack beam on the staff will constantly heal allies in its pass. So if I target the Moa and keep using my auto attack, any allies that will be in the pass of this beam will also get healed. Skill 2 will fire a wisp that will rotate around your target, whether it's an ally or an enemy, and it will heal as it rotates. Skill 3 is a teleport skill where you can use it to go anywhere, and once you land, you will do massive heals. Skill 5 will apply a barrier around you like this. Any projectiles from the enemies that will pass through it will heal you and allies. It will also apply regeneration on allies that will pass through it, and it is a water field. This means if you use your skill number 5 and then you teleport it with skill number 3 on top of it, you will do area healing as you saw right now. That's because skill 3 is also a blast finisher, so when you use those two skills together, you will heal for even more. Glyph of the Stars will keep pulsing heals in a very big radius around you every second as long as it's out, and this will happen whether you use it in Celestial Avatar or outside. All of the heals we just mentioned are outside of Celestial Avatar, but you will have even much more inside Celestial Avatar. So if you go to Celestial Avatar now by pressing F5, your skill number 4 will keep pulsing very big heals every second in a radius around you like this. And you can use this skill to cast heals as you move. You don't have to be standing still. Skill 3 is targetable and you can cast it in a radius like this, and it will be massive heals. Seed of Life, your F2, will also cast a radius around you like like this, this will cleanse and it will apply heals. Even your auto attack will apply heals in radius and you can keep just casting it. On top of that, Glyph of Alignment, if you use it inside Celestial Avatar, it will provide massive heals and it will remove 3 conditions. Glyph of the Stars will provide even more heals if you use it inside Celestial Avatar, and it will also res allies in the radius. It will also apply regeneration, stability, vigor, and protection if you manage to use it inside Celestial Avatar. In case you don't know how this works, you can only go to Celestial Avatar when that blue bar is filled. You will mainly fill this bar by healing allies, but you will also do that for a little amount if you do damage to the enemies. And the skill itself has 10 seconds cooldown, and once you are inside, you can exit anytime you want, but if you didn't, it will stay with you for a maximum of 15 seconds. This is not affected by damage, so even if you took heavy damage while you are in Celestial Avatar, it will not exit you. Now let's talk about all the boons you will provide, which will be plenty. And we will start with Alacrity because it will be the most important boon you will provide. Grace of the Land will be the main source for this. This will give Alacrity to you and allies in a radius anytime you use any of your Celestial Avatar skills. And so if I use my skill number 4 for example right now, you will see that it's constantly pulsing Alacrity. Same will go for skill number 5, which you can only cast as you are standing still. So both of those two skills will work in a very similar way. This will do damage and apply might, this will heal and apply might, but both of them will keep pulsing every second and they will give you and allies Alacrity. The same applies to all the rest of your Celestial Avatar skills. So simply by healing allies as we explained earlier, you will provide tons of Alacrity for them. We already mentioned regeneration and the sources for it, and so the next one we will talk about will be protection. From this trait, your F2 beast skills will heal, apply vigor, and they will also apply protection. And then the blue Moa itself by default will apply protection from the F2 skill. So just from the F2 skill on the Moa itself, you are already applying tons of protection. But then you also have Stone Spirit, which will apply protection in radius for every pulse. And then from this trait, your glyphs will apply protection. And we are using 2 of them, Glyph of Alignment and Glyph of the Stars. Try not to use Glyph of Alignment unless you need the protection or you are in Celestial Avatar for the heals. However, Glyph of the Stars is useful in both cases, but it is more useful in Celestial Avatar. Another very important boon you will provide will be Might. Warhorn 5 will provide Fury, 6 stacks of Might and Swiftness. And then in Celestial Avatar, skill number 4 will keep pulsing Might every second, and the same will go for skill number 5. Fury is another important boon you will provide. This will also be from Warhorn 5, but you will also apply it from this trait, which will provide Fury for you and allies in a radius every 10 seconds. So once more, just from those 2 skills combined, you are applying permanent Fury. On top of that, you will provide a lot of Vigor from this trait, and you will provide permanent Swiftness from the Warhorn 5. So with all of that being said, you are basically providing constant Alacrity, and then protection with Vigor and regeneration, and then you are also providing Might, Swiftness, and Fury. You are even applying Ages when you cast Stone Spirit for the first time. And you have stability from Glyph of the Stars and from skill number 5 in Celestial Avatar. So you will basically be providing most of the boons in the entire game. There are a couple more traits I would still like to explain. And Quick Draw is one of the most important traits for this build. Basically the way it works is, when you switch to any weapon in combat and then use any skills on that weapon, it will have its cooldown reduced by 66%, which basically means you will be able to use it back to back very quickly. And keep in mind that going in and out of Celestial Avatar counts as switching weapons. So for example, if I go to Celestial Avatar right now and use my skill number 4, this will have 8 seconds by default. But now I am in combat, and if I go to my Celestial Avatar again and use my skill number 4, you will see it has a much lower cooldown and I can basically use it back to back very quickly. Natural Mender is going to increase the healing you apply to allies by 20%, but it will also constantly fill up your energy bar for Celestial Avatar every 3 seconds. Search and Rescue is going to apply regeneration, but more important, it will pull any downed allies within a 600 radius to you and it will start healing them. Now I will show you how to use this build in action. Celestial Avatar will be your main thing and you always want to go to it whenever it's available. Once your Celestial Avatar is ready, you will go to it and you will use your skill number 4. Afterwards, you will just use 3, 2 and 1 whenever they are available, and then when 4 comes up again you will use it. and you will keep repeating over and over. Don't exit Celestial Avatar until your entire bar is over. So you keep spamming your auto attack, for example, if everything else was on cooldown. Don't use your skill number 5 unless you know you are going to be standing still and you don't need the heals or the cleanses from the other 4 skills. So basically only use it if you need to break bar or the fight is kind of easy. Once you are in Celestial Avatar, you will only worry about the skills I just mentioned. You will not worry about anything else. You will only use Glyph of Alignment if you needed extra heals and those skills were not enough. And you will use Glyph of the Stars for the same reason, if you needed extra heals or you have downs and you want to res them. When you are out of Celestial Avatar, the first skill you want to use will be Call of the Wild. This will give you all the buffs we just mentioned, and because of the quick draw trait, this will significantly reduce the skill cooldown. And then you will just follow up with the rest of your weapon skills, but it's very important to use your Warhorn 5 first. And then you will basically use Healing Spring and Stone Spirit whenever they are available. Save, search and rescue until you have downs, and then use it to pull those downs to you and start raising them. Also, your F2 skill is something you want to always use whenever it's available. And in fact, you can make it work on auto attack. So if you control, right click on the skill, you will see an arrow around it like this, and the pet will use it whenever it's available. Axe Warhorn will be your main weapon that you will stay on most of the time. You will only use Staff if you needed the extra heals in the fight. So in hard fights, you will go between your Staff and Celestial Avatar, and in easy fights, you will go between your Warhorn and Celestial Avatar. Something else to keep in mind, your Celestial Avatar bar will only fill up quickly in hard fights where people will be taking constant damage. But in easy fights, if people are not taking damage, then this bar will fill up very slowly. It's just something to keep in mind, but it shouldn't affect the rotation, and it shouldn't affect your boon uptime too much either. So I will now show you a rotation as an example. And you will basically keep repeating this over and over and over. Pink Moa, our secondary pet, is mainly there to break bar on the enemies when needed. The F2 skill from it is going to apply daze for 3 seconds, which will help a lot with breaking bar. Druid is also one of the best classes in terms of the utilities it can bring to the table. So now I will show you other utility skills we can use based on the situation. Healing Spring is a very good heal in easy fights. It will give you decent regeneration and it will cleanse conditions. But in hard fights, if you needed even more heals, then Glyph of Regeneration will be much better, because the amount of heals it will provide to allies in and out of Celestial Avatar will be significant. Outside of Celestial Avatar, it will heal you more, and it will heal your allies for a little less. But if you use it inside Celestial Avatar, it will be the opposite. It will heal allies significantly and it will give you small heals. Glyph of Equality is very good if you needed extra CCs. You can use it in or out of Celestial Avatar. Glyph of the Tides is also very good to pull enemies towards you or knock enemies back. Most of the time, you and whatever other boon support should be enough to keep a 25 stacks of might without any issues. But if you weren't able to, then take Sun Spirit, because using it with the other skills we just mentioned will guarantee that you will have constant 25 stacks of might. Frost Spirit is another very good option for extra sustain from conditions if needed, because Resolution will reduce the damage you take from conditions by 33%, and also when you activate it, this will remove 3 conditions. Storm Spirit is very good if you found yourself struggling with the party to keep a Fury 100% of the time. If you needed stun breaks, you have Protect Me and Quickening Zephyr, both of them are very good. In your elite skill, Entangle can be very useful in certain fights. For example, in Gorseval in Wing 1, you want to immobilize the spirits and Entangle can be very good for this. As I mentioned at the beginning, Healing Druid is one of the strongest healers in the entire game. And while I was working with this build, I was very impressed by its performance. So I hope you enjoyed this build when you try it as much as I enjoyed working on it. And if you want to see more of my builds, check in the description below and you will find playlists for all of them. If you found the guide helpful, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like to see more build guides in the future. And if you have any questions on this build or anything in general, feel free to ask me in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I will now leave you with some footage for this build in action. Thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next guide.